again, if you haven't noticed, like it's a little spicy trying to travel in government these days. So Director of DCSA David Cattler was supposed to join us along with Matt Eanes. I was super disappointed I could not get my AI in NatSec Geek Show. But if you know me, to know me is to know I love personnel vetting. If you were in recruiting, you need to know DCSA, the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency. If you're doing hiring, like they are your go-to, right? Like you cannot put people in seats if you cannot get clearances processed. And we are big about translating all of that at ClearanceJobs, helping to enable that, helping to connect you with information about DCSA. They are doing amazing work in this process. They are really important to what we're doing. So I'm really honored to be able to introduce David Cattler. He is the director of the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency. DCSA is really the most crucial agency today in enabling the security clearance process and the clearance reform efforts that we're talking about. It's, again, really critical in the hiring space. So he's going to talk about their mission, the work that they're doing, and some of the exciting ways that technology is enabling a better process.
No, it's really nice.
Okay.
So thanks, Lindy. Your check is in the mail. And thanks to the other organizers of Connect West and for all of you that are out there. I think it's a great opportunity for you to connect, grow, and learn more about the industry. Additionally, let me give a shout out to the hardworking DCSA Western Region team members who did not have to travel because they're local to you. So please, if you're there right now, raise your hand so people know who you are and they can ask other questions they might have for you about DCSA. Look, we can't do great work without great people, and West Region's terrific. So thanks to all of you for being out there and getting all that work done. I confess I was a bit disappointed that I'm not with you today in San Diego. I spent a lot of my time on sea duty with the Navy there, home ported in San Diego. But this is one of the rare times where the weather is actually crappier in San Diego than it is in DC in March. So now I don't feel so badly that I couldn't travel out there. But I'm glad I could connect with you. So thanks so much for letting me do it this way. You see that tech is helping me fulfill my mission of spending time with you today. And it's also helping us find new ways to better protect the information, the people, and the facilities that are within not just the defense industrial base, but the broader American industrial base and the research community. All of that's essential to our national security and to our economic health and viability. Technology and information are also key to efforts that have been announced by the President and by our new Secretary of Defense. The SecDef has said we must respond to increased assertiveness by global competitors like China by rebuilding our military and to ensure that our defense industrial base is even stronger than ever. So in my words, he's saying we need to kick the arsenal of democracy into overdrive. Now, I just like that as an American, somebody spent most of his career moving between defense and national things, and now as a security director for the last year. But I also tell you that from a DCSA perspective, what he's saying is really important, because at the same time, we have to ensure that all of that expanded work, all these new companies that come in, all these new people that get hired, also have the proper security wrapped around them, so that the U.S. and our allies, as the last speaker just covered, for example, all those purchases, all this tech development that we're going to do together is protected so that we gain the military and economic advantage that we seek from going after it. Because if it just goes right out the door as soon as we develop it, or as soon as it's fielded, then I would argue it's got less impact potentially. And our adversaries are always watching and working to gain competitive advantage over us. That threat continues to adapt. They adapt to us. They also innovate and improve capability to steal the things from us that we're trying to protect. And that's one of the key places where DCSA steps in, as we provide integrated security services, including personnel vetting, industrial security oversight, counterintelligence, and training. Safeguarding the arsenal of democracy in the defense industrial base means ensuring our cleared contractors, partners, and personnel operate in a secure environment that they can trust. The people that are around them, that we know that they're trusted, the companies know that they're trusted, the facilities, the information systems, the data itself can be trusted. So DCSA really is an integral part of enabling the protection of the current and the growing defense industrial base. Now, you can read my biography in the program, and as I've already mentioned, I was appointed director at DCSA about 1 year ago, on the 25th, so in about 12 days, which to me was a great opportunity, but also a big change from where I spent the great majority of my career in intelligence, both here and recently overseas. But I would tell you that some of the best security lessons came early in my career when I served as a weapons officer aboard an Aegis cruiser in LA and then down in San Diego. On the ocean, you see which way the winds and the currents are running, and you have to be able to adapt quickly. You and your crewmates must practice teamwork. You need to be able to trust your ship, your shipmates, yourself, and they must be able to trust you. And I've learned that while technology is great, without the right people to operate it and sustain it, it really is nearly useless. We've seen ships with advanced sonar and radar systems being run aground or colliding with other ships, not due to the technology or an inattentive crew, but all of that together failing when it was most needed. So we really do see that people are what we most need to ensure are focused and placed in the right location, and people really are key to our security. Now, DCSA is in the trust business. That's what we're delivering as security professionals. Security is the mechanism, but the real deliverable is trust. That initial trust and sustained trust over time. And as I said, trust in people, facilities, information systems, and in data. DCSA is our government's largest integrated security services provider, and DCSA is the nation's only purpose-built security agency. We deliver integrated security services, as I said, in 4 core mission areas: personnel security, industrial security, CI and insider threat. That's one thing together, so it makes 3 so far. And 4th, security training. Personnel security, DCSA currently handles more than 95% of federal background investigations, and we conduct on average 2.7 million background investigations, or really investigative acts, per year. And that means we initiate more than 10,000 investigations every day. Now, I wanted you to understand the volume and velocity, but I also want you to hear me say as the director on behalf of our entire team that we get that every single one of those cases is an American citizen. Every single one of those American citizens is entitled to a fair shake. And so while, yeah, we're opening 10,000, 11,000 cases a day, and we're closing 2.7 million a year, we do care about each and every single one of them on an individual basis. And I think that's really important to make sure that we convey to you. We also adjudicate on average about 620,000 to 640,000 cases a year. Just keep in mind that not all those investigations and investigatory acts are necessary for adjudication or re-adjudication, but a lot are. And obviously we aren't finished after someone's cleared, because we do provide this awesome product called continuous vetting. And through continuous vetting, we ensure that the trusted workforce stays trustworthy. Everybody that holds a clearance that we cover is enrolled in CV as a condition of employment and automatically. And that currently is a population of over 3.8 million people. And we're projecting that we'll add another 1 million by the end of this fiscal year when we incorporate what we call the non-sensitive public trust population. So if you know what a tier 2 is versus a tier 3 or tier 5, that's the nature of the investigation, the purpose that we're talking about. But these are people that are in positions that are sensitive and handle sensitive information, but not necessarily classified things. So maybe you work for railroad administration, you do railroad security, or you do things like that for Department of the Interior and so on. So if any of you have undergone or will go through a government background check, it's likely that we'll play some role in it if we don't do it ourselves. I've had, I think, 7 or 8 background checks done on me over the course of my career. I've had 7 polygraphs also, and many of my teammates have as well. And so I also want to make clear before I move to industrial security that I really do feel like we get it, that we have the right empathy because we've gone through the same process. We appreciate what it's like to go through it, be a subject, and we really do care about not just what we do there, but also how it feels when we go through the process. So as you have issues, let's hear it. Because again, we want to make sure everybody gets treated the same way and everybody gets the same fair shake. We also lead implementation of the National Industrial Security Program for the United States. And the reason why I say for the United States is that we lead it certainly for the Department of Defense, but we also do so for 35 other federal departments and agencies. And I should also say, as a callback to personnel security, that's not just north of 95% of the nation's security clearance holders. That's 109 federal departments and agencies, including in the legislative branch and in the judicial branch, that we do that work for. So we are, in a quaint colloquial, the 800-pound gorilla, or the apex predator in both personnel and industrial security. So within industrial security, we also conduct entity vetting, facility security clearances, and foreign ownership, control, or influence operations, really mitigation, in partnership with companies that are in that cleared industrial or academic base that might have foreign ownership or significant foreign connection or foreign business activities, or foreigners on their boards or a substantial percentage of their employees and so on. These ensure a company is fully prepared to handle the classified or otherwise confidential material of the United States government. And again, that's an initial and a sustained trust relationship over time. So that means we provide oversight and ensure security compliance for more than 10,000 cleared companies, approximately 13,000 cleared facilities, and 5,500 classified systems within those facilities. Speaking of those IT systems, we also protect and strive to lead the field in cyber readiness as well. So we conduct what are called cyber operational readiness assessments, or CORAs, and are paving a new era for DoD in those inspections. And these are vitally important because our adversaries rarely go straight to the government to steal secrets. Again, that we're on the same team, so that the attack surface is actually quite large when you take a look not just at DoD, but also at that defense industrial base, the broader industrial base. They will come to you, the industry, where the next generation of advancements in tech are being created. It will go through the entire supply chain, try to get at the raw materials, the subcomponents, the bits and pieces that come in, the critical thinking, the business processes, the production processes, the machines, and the people, with the understanding that if I get it early and I get it at the subcomponent stage or as the idea is being formed, I can also affect things that are upstream, get at some things that in fact may be even more sensitive and even more highly classified, which is a good segue to counterintelligence and insider threat. We also protect the defense industrial base from insider and foreign entity threats through the provision of counterintelligence functional services and through insider threat analytics support. We are greatly helped by our industry and research partners to gather data and intelligence about where and what threats are coming to industry. We have unique access to industry and collect threat information that's not available to any other agency in the intelligence community. And I also argue in law enforcement, because we have 2,500 people in the field that just work directly for DCSA. And then we have an incredible number of highly talented contractors that are also in the field doing background investigations and some other things for us. And all of our staff all together in 174 locations in the 50 states. So we really are where the majority of American citizens are that hold these clearances, and we really are where the majority of the defense industrial base works and lives. Our analysis consolidates and analyzes the threat reporting we receive from industry, and we do have the authorities to share that with the intelligence community and law enforcement partners to inform their operations and collection, and also to act as sort of a cutout for them to communicate maybe at lower classification levels and with less sensitivity to that cleared defense industrial base, to the public even through unclassified publications. If you take a look at our website, you'll see on there our threat assessment reports that we share with industry. So if you haven't read it, I really do encourage you to go to our website, dcsa.mil, and read the 2024 annual assessment document. We received last year more than 30,000 suspicious contact reports from cleared industry. In addition to everything we hear from them on that day-to-day interaction, and all of that goes into that unclassified report we publish on the website and a classified version. And as I've said, it's really unique because that's what we hear from industry. So incredibly valuable as I speak with CEOs, corporate security officers, and with facility security officers, and our team does as well, to be able to say, no, this is what we hear from other companies that operate in your space, in your region, in your market segment. Things you should look for. So if you're a new entrant to the defense industrial base and you're thinking about how to scope your defense industrial security program, in addition to take a look at the implementation manual, the inspection checklists, et cetera, it's also really good to take a look at where the threat is, where the threat's been, and our projections about where the threat might go. And that's a good unclassified way you can get that. Then last but not least, we are the Defense Security Enterprise Manager for security training, education, and certification. We provide millions of annual course or security course completions. Last year was about, I think, a little over 4 million. We peaked at 5 million during COVID, so super impressive numbers. And that's both for the government and for appropriate personnel in industry. CSOs, FSOs, those that aspire to that can either take those courses. Some of my neighbors, in fact, have mentioned that they've seen me in some of these videos making the introductions, and there's like a kind of an interesting thing, I think, to me anyway. We also grant 11,000 security certifications, so kind of give the DCSA good housekeeping seal of approval, which helps with your hiring screening, with some of your retention potentially for us when we inspect your programs, to really see that you've got people that are going the extra mile to gain those certifications to be in these key roles. And I would tell you, we also, I'm the executive agent for the nation's polygraph program that we use for credibility assessments. Again, back to those 7 I've taken myself. We train the polygraphers, we certify them and credential them, and we also have a very important role to inspect for compliance all of the polygraph programs that are performed within the federal government on an annual basis. We provide our security teammates expertise and information that helps them better protect their information technology systems and guard against insider threats, and to protect their technology and personnel. So fair to say, as you can see, we keep a bit busy, even when we're not here responding to EOs or OPM memos or writing my response to my 5 things each week. I have plenty to say in my 5 things, but we can also do better and be more effective. And that's why we're trying to work better with industry to push things forward. And we are currently exploring the use of more technology, as the previous speaker said, to speed up these processes. Let me just say here, you can't operate with the challenges we have with velocity, volume, and variety in the mission or the data that we deal with and deliver results at the scale that this agency does with a consistently high quality if you don't have talented people supported by really, really good technology. And if we don't have great technology in place right now, we're trying to get it and move things forward. So let me talk about what it is we're trying to do before I wrap up. Obviously, maintaining security in today's environment requires just even more than increased vigilance. It also means that we have to adapt and stay ahead of new approaches that we might see from others, and we need to make sure that we work properly with academia and industry, whether cleared or uncleared. Those things can include, first, new public and private partnership approaches. Look, we really mean it when we say we're on the same team. It is not adversarial and it ain't personal. It's about making sure that we are implementing the proper measures, that we hear what's actually happening in the field of real things that are affecting companies. We understand what cost of compliance is, where the pain points are, and that we explain to your corporate leadership why we need them to do the things that we're talking about. When we inspect you, yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it can be perceived as a bit adversarial because you got a lot on the line. Whether it's you being reviewed as I've been reviewed for a renewal of your security clearance, or it's about that facility clearance that you need in the beginning, or it's renewal, or an upgrade, or whatever it is that you're going for. I get it. It can be incredibly stressful. And it's probably going to cost you some money and some time, either in direct labor to prepare to execute that inspection, or to buy and upgrade the systems that you need. But I promise you, we're really taking a hard look at making sure that we're hitting the right mark, we're not imposing undue costs, that every facility gets a fair shake and is treated exactly the same way. So whether you're handled by West Region or Mid-Atlantic for us, you're going to get the same inspection. You're going to have the same feel, no matter our industrial security rep that comes out to lead that team. So new approaches can ensure that security measures are appropriate, understood, affordable, and implemented properly. That's really important. On technology, software, including AI, is designed streamline the vetting process and to support human decision-making by automating some repetitive procedures and identifying and highlighting important information and anomalies in data that help prioritize human action. But like all new technology, it needs to be tested and proven to reinforce, but not to replace, our hardworking and dedicated security and counterintelligence professionals. And let me be really clear with you. I mean, maybe this is because I have a quaint civil libertarian streak, or maybe it's that really literally when I wake up at night, it's because I'm, among many other things, worried about losing all of that deeply personal and private information that we gather from American citizens, and all this highly sensitive proprietary information that we gather from companies when we do these compliance reviews. whether for foci or for the security measures that need to be imposed for your FCL. We need to safeguard that. But if you paid attention, you did not hear me say, I want minority report, or I want the computer to dictate whether I'm trustworthy or not trustworthy, whether I'm going to commit a thought crime in the future and should be cleared. Those are deeply personal and highly subjective decisions that are taken in accordance with some really strict guidelines that need a human in the loop. What I'm talking about is having the computer do things that the computer should do to burn the burden down so that when the workforce goes through 3.8 to 5 million records, or takes a look at several 100,000 incident reports we get from CV, that they're only focusing their brain cycles on the ones that are the most important for them to look at. And that when I exploit data across mission areas, personnel security versus industrial security, for example, are there anomalies that the computer can help us detect? And let me give you just a quick practical example. You all should know that you have a SEAD 3 requirement to report foreign travel, among other things. If I have SEAD 3 reports from you as an individual, but I don't have anything from your facility security officer, or if I don't have anything from you, but I have it from the continuous vetting database check, we probably have a problem. And the computer could help me better understand which facilities my team should go back out and revisit, talk to the FSO or talk to the CSO that oversees the facilities, if those anomalies exist. If they're repeated, it might be time to come back out and check and see what's going on. Or maybe for the individual to be recalled for a little chat about what they've been up to related to their activities that have gone otherwise unreported, so that we understand whether they're still trustworthy. So it's just some ideas about things, but again, it's not about having the computer make the decisions for us. So in conclusion, I really do see DCSA as the government's premier provider of integrated security services. And I really want you to understand our mission is to enable trust in the workforce, in the facilities, in the information technology, and in the data that contains. That we do that through partnership with our DoD and government partners, and also with industry stakeholders as teammates. None of us can do it without the others. And I think we really get that here at DCSA. We're all in the same fight to protect our enduring advantage, to sustain that, and to ensure our national security and our economic security. We don't work alone, but we work together as the foundation of security for our great nation. So on that note, Lindy, turn back over to you in the room to take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. So we did have a few questions that we chatted about earlier, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how DCA is using AI or planning to use AI to further your work in mission areas, and what are some of the challenges you see? You mentioned it's not Minority Report, so what is it?
Yeah, look, I mean, we could talk about this. I got like do a doctoral dissertation on AI in the security space, but what I think I want the audience to understand most, in addition to the points I made about, it's not Minority Report, is that what I'm looking for are practical applications of AI that are going to help us pool our data properly and exploit it. Again, as I say, as a former intelligence officer now, for INW, for anomaly detection, I want practicality around business process improvements. I want real gains in processing. I'm fascinated by it, but I don't care about lasers and dolphins' heads and that kind of stuff. I'm looking for things that can actually make the work better and faster, so that the humans can do things that only humans can and should do, and the computer enables the rest. I would love to see some AI to help us with training. We've done some pilots in that way already that have really shown some great potential, where the AI could coach a trainee, like a trainee adjudicator through, did you know that the rule is this? Did you know that 678 of your colleagues, when presented with the same decision, made a different choice than yours? Would you like to see what the SEAD 4 says about what the evaluation criteria is? That's good. Quality reviews enabled by AI would be another thing, because if you consider, again, like an annual throughput of 2.7 million investigative acts, we do quality control sampling on the regular, but that's a tremendous volume to go through and do, and it's a bit labor intensive. It would be really awesome to have some AI enablement on quality reviews and quality control. DCSA is if you take a corporate approach, as we increasingly are, DCSA is a service provider. And what I'm selling, right, trust is my stock in trade, but my products, PCLs, personnel security clearances, I literally sell, right? The investigations, I mean, not illicitly, but like really I do. FCLs, right? So industrial security work, foci mitigation. I sell security training. The in-house stuff enablement is CI, insider threat, and also the critical enablers I have in-house, like my own IT support, acquisition, software development, all that stuff, security. I mean, everything we need to enable us as a corporation. What do I care about as a service provider? Very similar to the private sector. I care about CECX, customer engagement, customer experience. Got to be great. Got to be first class. You could have an AI chatbot there to help people. We don't right now. Maybe that'd be useful. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Haven't yet looked at that. Haven't invested. Second thing I care about is cost efficiency, cost effectiveness. The work's not cheap. It's never going to be free, but every penny counts. So it really does matter that the customer paying for our services understands they're getting best value for the dollar. And we have internal structures and processes, full-time dedicated to CPI, to continuous process improvement, using any of a range of tools, Agile at the enterprise level, you name it, we're at it, to try to crunch through those things to make sure we're constantly improving. And we are innovating, as you can imagine, on developing use cases, bringing the right technology in. Shout out for Matt Eanes. He's got some policy guidelines. He's got a nifty quad on how to consider AI potential use cases in the trusted workforce space. He's about to roll out. That's great. So a good tool for us. The final thing we care about as service provider in this space is quality, value. And a lot of that is not just subjective, but it should be an objective assessment. So statistical sampling, AI enablement, take a hard look at, where are we on quality and those sorts of things. So security spend is modest, not just in the private sector, but even in the government. And so I don't have Scrooge McDuck piles of cash to spend on AI tools and piloting, but I do have a modest. So I got like Scrooge McDuck's nephew's allowance is what I have to spend on innovation in the AI space. We've launched some pilots. We got one going right now, and I'm looking to do some more in the space. If you work AI and you want to make a good civic investment, and you want to give me a call, you want to talk to DCSA about things you could offer me for free or things we should be aware of, and I'm all ears. And I know the team is too. So again, please feel free to reach out. So let me just stop there and turn back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. So next one, you're in a room full of talent management professionals. So kind of talk about upskilling and retraining. You mentioned that in your remarks a little bit. I know that's been huge at DCSA, working on upskilling and reskilling your own workforce. Why is that important to what we're doing with AI?
Yeah, look, I mean, I already talked about my time on Aegis cruisers, which I like my iPhone has more computing power than my first Aegis cruisers mainframe did, no doubt. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it was like super whammadine cool in 1993 when I went on sea duty. And Aegis cruisers still best ships in the fleet, hands down. You'll see a couple of them if you look out. If you can see them through the fog and the rain, you'll see them over there at 32nd Street. But I learned a lot. And the tech is great and you need it for the combat edge. But again, if you don't have the right people in those seats when the missile's coming in at you, unless it's in full auto, man, it ain't gonna do much for you. So you really need to be very careful. So we need to make sure we align the right talent, and that's inside and outside government, that we think about the way people actually live and work. Tech is great on its own, but it's got to be plugged in. I am pushing, and we are actively implementing Agile at Enterprise. As I said, I'm a proud Agilist myself. My certification this year doesn't expire till this October. And we have over 200 personnel that have gone through that training, and over 150 of them so far are certified safe Agilists. So I feel like we're making some good progress here. But let me also be really clear here, just as kind of a warning. Let me tell you what I don't need. I don't need Jack's Magic Beans. I need something now. I don't need, as I said, lasers and dolphins heads. I need things that actually speed process data discovery, data understanding, so that I can sharply improve performance, quality, value for the dollar. I can sharpen my service offerings. If you can give me that through tech, I got all the time in the world for you. But if what you're offering me is something that is not an open architecture-y sort of thing that gives me more options that I can take and dev in the direction I need to, if what you want to give me is a report, you want to give me something that's going to be phenomenally expensive to maintain, I'm not your guy. DCSA is not your agency for that. You need somebody that's got deeper pockets. But frankly, I don't think that's where government is now, and I don't think that's where government should go. And that's what you see in the president's direction and in the SecDef's direction. So hopefully that's a friendly bit of advice to people there in the audience about kind of what time it is and where we need to go together.
Awesome. That's what I love. Let's get places together. You probably have time for one question in the room. Anybody volunteer? I didn't let Art take questions, but now I have time for one. Just one. It's like I'm going to auction it off. I have another question. So can you just kind of speak to, you pretty much already did it just now, but the defense industrial base engagement involvement here as a final takeaway, kind of what would you leave the companies, talent management practitioners, folks in this room for how to continue to engage with DCSA and to innovate? Because like we talked about that, Art mentioned in his remarks, it's a time for disruption, right? So if there's new players in the game, I do think navigating DCSA is a hurdle, right? To get into, like, how do we break into the space, get involved? No.
I'm shocked you'd say that, Lindy. We are so approachable. www.dcsa.mil. Don't let the mill scare you. Just go to the website, take a look. Phone numbers on there. You can look at my smiling face, see the bio. You got all the names of all the people that run all of our key business areas on there. But look, joking aside, reach out often. Go to the website, take a look. We've got a lot of educational aids on there. You'll see some links through. A really good one, a good resource for you is www.cdse.mil. Either that or .edu. It's my own thing, and I honestly can't remember if it's .edu or .mil. But nonetheless, if you look at our security training page, you'll see the link through. CDSE is a tremendous resource that we run for defense and for the broader public, where you can learn more about what some of the key things are, like what is a security clearance, what is a security interview, what is a facility clearance letter. What is a security inspection? What does a healthy, effective program need to show? There are a lot of resources on that webpage and links to numbers that you can call, emails you can use to get access to training materials, to courses if you're eligible, and that sort of thing. We also post a lot of our newsletters on the webpage. So some great assessments from our insider threat team, industrial security articles, personnel security articles, all that stuff's out there. So I really encourage you to take a look. And we're not alone in that. I mean, again, shout out, I channel my inner Matt Eanes. I mean, really take a look at the PAC PMO page on the OMB website because they're putting up lots of great information, like the trusted workforce policies, the quarterly reports. That gives you not just what the status is, but the direction of travel projected out over the next few to several quarters. So you'll understand what government intends to prioritize, what policies are going to land, and that sort of thing. But let me give you some really tangible, practical advice. First, if you're a subject, tell the truth, will you? Please fill out a complete form when you're directed to. I've done it. We've all done it. That hold clearances, especially in this current era. We've all used the app. Fill it out correctly, properly, fully. If you have questions about how far you need to go, like how much information do I need to provide, you'll see links throughout that are going to give you the information, either some notes that you can pull up, but also the help desk. I've used the help desk myself. My clearance was renewed in 2022. before I was director here, before I even knew I would be the director here, and I called DCSA myself, and I found it really, really useful. The same if you're going to go through a facility clearance review. Really encourage you, reach out, understand, hire the right trained and credentialed people that bring the right experience as you build your programs and you get that initial FCL inspection. And then as it's renewed over time, if you foci mitigated, it can be even more complex. I get it. So I also encourage you to reach out. So you get my themes here. Be informed, reach out, read through, study, ask questions. Two final points here. If you're a facility security officer or a corporate security officer, make sure that you are training your people on what to do and encouraging them to do the right thing, but not coaching them. There's a world of difference between training, educating, and coaching. Coaching bad, training, educating good. So that's one thing I would give you. And then the other point I would make to you here is that we also need to hear from you if you have a better idea, if you have some recommendations for us in terms of how to improve, and that could be us, that could be DoD writ large, that could be the security enterprise writ large. Really do want to hear from you. If you've had a bad experience, now hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it does, we need to know that too. And you should trust that we're not going to take it badly. We really do. We don't hear from you, we're not going to improve. If I don't hear about it, we're not going to improve. So I really do encourage you. If you feel like you did not get the fair shake that I said you're entitled to, and I meant it when I said it, either on an individual or on a corporate basis, speak up. And if you need to tell me rather than the broader team, please come right out and do it. And you can figure out how to get to me through that website or connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a DM, however you want to do it. And I'll do my best to get back to you. Or protect your confidence if that's what you want. So again, back to you, Lindy, in the room.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to be here. Thanks for your time. I have to. Oh, yep.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes.
Because I can't see the audience, so maybe Lindy, you can help me. Anything I say surprise anybody?
No. You said exactly what they thought.
Okay.
They
sound
said.
encouraging.
They're all lying. 100%.
Like, am I crazy off? No, I mean, seriously, like message land, people get it. We're on the same team. So you've got a former director there. I understand Charlie Phelan's there.
Woo woo. Yes,
yeah,
he is.
Charlie's awesome.
They're going to send their complaints to Charlie.
Yeah, it should really, because if it happened, it wasn't me, it's probably Charlie. But in all seriousness, Charlie's a gentleman's gentleman, first director during transition, widely experienced, really, really gets it. He and I are great friends. I look to him for a lot of mentorship myself. So I really encourage you in my absence, feel free to, I don't want to drive Charlie crazy, but feel free to engage Charlie also. And I'm confident.
Sorry, Charlie.
He'll pass some things.
He's been hiding, Sir Cattler, until you.
I'm sure, because he's observing everybody. It's also what he does. But
preparing reports. No, thank you so much. It does mean a lot that DCSA is engaging. I will say that again. I'm old in personnel vetting. I'm so many years old that Charlie remembers when his staff used to have great fear when I would walk up to him and try to accost him at events. Now you get that, Director Cattler. So I appreciate it.
Now he's retired, so he can do whatever he wants.
I know, it's perfect. But DCSA is here. Engage with them. Again, check out dcsa.mil. It is like a go-to source. It is the second best place for news and information about the clearance process next to ClearanceJobs.com. But we appreciate the work that you're doing. And I will say the clearance process is like childbirth, because I recently went through it, and for the record, I was ready to throw down. I was like, I've got David Cattler's email. I'm going to tell him how much it sucked. And then I had the baby and it was fine. Like, I totally forgot. It was adjudicated. I was like, it wasn't that bad, actually. It was terrible. But
I think this is actually Lindy confessing that she had some secret fear that now we're going to have to reinvestigate. Who can say?
They did. No, that got sent back to Peraton like 2 times from DCSA. You got to work on that audit process, sir. That's like a sidebar. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of you. At this point, we were going to break, sir. So thank you. You get to close us out. Now we get to all have snacks.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Dangerous time
between
people in breaks.